Ciao everybody, NZ Blasian here, back with another squad builder type video. This time around I got an idea, and we got a team here, we got a super team here in the Clippers, and we also have a super team in, where is it, in the 76ers. So the 76ers super team is Luka Doncic, Jason Tatum, Ja Morant, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Zion Williamson, Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, Trae Young, Jaylen Brown, Anthony Towns, Pascal Siakam, Tyrese Halliburton, and Darius Garland and Bam Adebayo, DeMontis Sabonis and LaMelo Ball, plus also Brandon Ingram to make up that super team. And then the super team we're going to be um, the super team we have here in the Clippers that we're going to be simulating through. We've got LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, Giannis Antetokounmpo, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Derrick Rose, Anthony Davis, Damian Lillard, Jimmy Butler, Kyrie Irving, DeRozan, and Blake Griffin. So that's your super team for the Clippers. So we've got it on Hall of Fame, 12-minute quarters, no injuries, trades are turned off. And yeah, so we'll get into the simulation. So we're going to do the super team for the Clippers. So we'll simulate from October 20th to November 6th to get started. So we'll simulate through. We take a 1 point win over the Lakers, get a win over the Kings, a win over the Suns, a win over OKC, a win over back-to-back wins over OKC, a win over New Orleans, a win over the Rockets, then lose in the back-to-back to the Rockets, then get the win over the Spurs, and then the win over the Jazz. So we're 9-1 to start our first 10 games. So we'll check the win against the LA Lakers. 26 points and 10 assists for LeBron James, or double-double. 25 points and 11 rebounds for Anthony Davis, or double-double. We move on to the Clippers. 20 points for LeBron James, 12 points for Jokic, 10 points for Steph Curry, 10 points for James Harden, 10 points for Giannis, 10 points for Dame Lillard, and 9 points for Embiid. And then 7 points for Kevin Durant, 7 points for Rose, 6 points for Irving, 5 points for Westbrook, and 3 points for Kawhi Leonard. So the whole team gets to play. And then the win against Sacramento, 22 for Harrison Barnes, 17 for De'Aaron Fox, 23 points for Kawhi Leonard, Giannis with 14, 13 points for Derrick Rose, 12 points and 10 rebounds for Jokic, so double-double, 12 points for Davis, 11 points for Steph Curry, 10 points for Kevin Durant, 9 points for Harden, and 8 points for LeBron James. We move on to the win against the Suns, 16 points for Giannis, 15 for Kevin Durant, 15 for Jokic, 14 for Kawhi, and Steph Curry with 11, and LeBron James with 10 points, 30 points for Devin Booker, 19 points for Cam Payne, and then the win against OKC, 27 for SGA, 18 for Josh Giddey, Lou Dort with 15, 21 points for Steph Curry, LeBron James with 19, Jokic with 19, Kevin Durant with 18. And move on against the win against OKC, so we got back-to-back wins. 22 points for SGA, Lou Dort with 19, Trey Mann with 19, 24 points for Steph Curry, 22 points for LeBron James, 15 for Kawhi, Kevin Durant with 14, and 12 points each for Giannis and Russell Westbrook. And then the win against New Orleans, 18 points for Giannis Antetokounmpo, so top scorer. Kawhi with 16, LeBron James with 15, Harden with 14, Curry and Steph Curry with 13, Kevin Durant with 12, and Nikola Jokic with 10 points and 10 rebounds, so double-double. Brandon Ingram with 29, Zion with 21, and CJ McCollum with 12. Move on to the win against the Rockets. 21 points for LeBron James, so he top scored. 15 for Kawhi, 12 points for James Harden, and 11 points for Kevin Durant. 17 points for Paul Arizin, 12 points for B. Sharman. So the Rockets have a super team here as well, but an old school super team. Bob Cousy with 8 points, Dolph Shays with 9, and then we lose to the Super Team Rockets. 20 points for Bob Cousy, George Mikan with 17, Dolph Shays with 15 points and 12 rebounds, so double-double. 15 points for LeBron, 14 points for Jokic, 12 points for Harden and Derrick Rose. Then the win against the Spurs, 19 points for Keldon Johnson, 15 points for Roby, 23 points for LeBron, 15 points for Nikola Jokic, 14 for Harden, 14 for Kevin Durant, and 11 points for Anthony Davis. Then the win against the Jazz, 24 points for Steph Curry, so he top scored. 17 for Harden, 13 for Kevin Durant, 13 for Jokic, and 13 for Embiid, and also 13 points for Derrick Rose. Jordan Clarkson was 17, Sexton was 16 points. So we'll simulate on. We've got a 9-1 record. So we'll simulate from November 7th to November 27th. So we'll simulate through. We take the win against the Cavs, a win against the Lakers, lose to the Nets, lose to the Super Team Rockets, win against the Mavs, lose to Detroit, win against the Spurs, win against Utah, win against Golden State, win against Denver, and win against Pacers. So we're now 17-4. So we'll check the win against the Spurs. Meant the win against the Cavs on November 7th. 21 points for Nikola Jokic, 17 points and 12 assists for LeBron James, so a double-double. 15 points for James Harden and 14 for Steph Curry. 28 points for Donovan Mitchell, 26 points for Darius Garland, 16 points and 10 rebounds for Mobley, so a double-double. Then the win against the Lakers, 22 points for LeBron James, 18 points for Kawhi Leonard, 14 for Jokic, 13 for Kevin Durant and Giannis Antetokounmpo, and 10 points each for Steph Curry and D Rose. 32 points for LeBron James on the Lakers, 15 points and 15 rebounds for Anthony Davis, so double-double. 14 points for Westbrook. And then the loss to the Nets, 16 points for Kevin Durant, 14 for Steph Curry, 12 points for Harden, 12 points for Kawhi, LeBron with 11, and Jokic with 10 points. And then the Brooklyn Nets have an all-time, a super team out there. We got Shaquille O'Neal, Paul Pierce, Tim Duncan, LeBron, Dirk, Chris Paul, D Wade, Kevin Garnett, Jason Kidd, Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, Tracy McGrady, and Dwight Howard in the super team in the Nets. So Shaq got 23 points, Paul Pierce was 17, Tim Duncan with 15 points and 10 rebounds, so a double-double. LeBron with 15, Dirk Nowitzki with 14, Chris Paul with 13 points and 16 assists, so a double-double. And then the loss to the Super Team Rockets, the old school, back in the day Super Team. So Bob Pettit with 24, Neil Johnston with 16, Bill Sharman with 15, Bob Cousy with 11 points and 13 assists, George Mikan and Dolph Shays both with 11 points, 19 points for Kevin Durant, 16 points for Harden, 13 points for Steph Curry. And then the win against the Mavs, Luka Doncic with 29 points, 11 rebounds and 9 assists, so a double-double. 23 points and 12 rebounds for Christian Wood, so a double-double. And 18 points coming from Spencer Dinwiddie. 16 points for Steph Curry, 15 for Harden, 15 for Jokic, and 14 for LeBron and Anthony Davis. And then the loss to Detroit, Steph Curry with 15, Embiid with 15, Kevin Durant with 14, Giannis with 14, Jaden Ivey with 25, Cade Cunningham with 21, Sadiq Bey with 17, and we got Kemba Walker in Detroit with 14 points. Then the win against the Spurs, 26 points for James Harden, 20 points for Kawhi, Embiid with 18, 14 for Steph Curry, 13 points, 10 rebounds, and 11 assists for Jokic, so a triple-double. And then we just got a few extras in San Antonio. So we got Josh Richardson with 16 points, Tyus Jones with 14 points and 12 assists, so double-double. Zach Collins with 8, Doug McDermott with 4, Devin Vassell with 10. So we move on to the win against Utah. 22 points for LeBron, 20 for Steph Curry, 16 for Kevin Durant and Giannis. 25 points for Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson with 16, Kelly Olynyk with 13, and Taylor Horton-Tucker with 12. Then the win against Golden State, 34 points coming from Steph Curry and the Warriors team, 18 points for Wiggins, 15 points for Jordan Poole, and 14 points for J. Michael Green. 22 points for Giannis Antetokounmpo, 21 for Steph Curry, 17 for LeBron, 13 points for Davis, and 12 points each for Harden, Kawhi Leonard, and Embiid. And we move on to the win against Denver. 21 points for Kawhi Leonard, 20 for LeBron, Jokic with 17. Jokic and the Denver Nuggets got 33 points and 14 rebounds, so a double-double. Jamal Murray only managed 10 points, and Caldwell Pope with 9. Then the win against the Pacers, 20 points for Steph Curry, 13 points for Kevin Durant, 13 points for Kawhi Leonard, 27 points for Buddy Hield, 22 for Tyrese Halliburton, 17 for Duarte. So we move on. We've got a 17-4 record finishing out November going into December. So we don't have a Christmas Day game, so we'll go from November 29th to December 23rd. So we'll simulate through. So we get a win against Portland. We'll turn the player back to G League. We got a win against Portland, a win against Utah Jazz, a win against Sacramento, a win against the Hornets. So we'll keep simulating to the 23rd. A win against the Magic, a win against Miami Heat, a win against the Washington Wizards, then lose to the Celtics, then get a win over Minnesota, a win over the Suns, then a win over Washington, and then a win over the Hornets, and then lose to the 76ers. So as of December 23rd, we've got a record of 28-6. So we'll check the game against Portland, the win against Portland. So the Trailblazers have Bob Cousy with 21 points, Josh Hart with 14, Simons with 11, and LeBron James with 26 points, 17 for Kevin Durant, 14 for Kawhi, and 13 for Steph Curry. Then the win over Utah, Lauri Markkanen with 18, 17 for Mike Conley, and Colin Sexton with 11. 16 points for Steph Curry and 16 points for Jokic, 14 points for James Harden, 13 points for Kawhi Leonard, and then the win against the Kings, 20 points for Steph Curry, 19 points for Kawhi Leonard, 15 points and 10 rebounds for Giannis Antetokounmpo, so a double-double, 18 points for Keegan Murray, 16 points for Terrence Davis, then the win against the Hornets, 31 points for Chris Paul and the Hornets, 14 for Gordon Hayward, 11 for Kelly Oubre Jr., 22 points for Joel Embiid, 19 for Jokic, 19 for Derrick Rose, 18 for James Harden. Then the win against the Magic, 24 points for Paolo Banchero, 18 for Franz Wagner, and Cole Anthony with 15 points and 12 assists, so a double-double. 20 points for Jokic, 19 for Curry, and 16 for Kawhi. Then the win against Miami, 17 points for Ray Allen, so Ray Allen's in Miami. 17 for Bam Adebayo, and 14 for Tyler Hero. Nikola Jokic with 21 points, 15 for LeBron, 14 for Giannis Antetokounmpo, and 14 for Embiid. And then the win against Washington, 34 points for Paul George, 16 for Jalen Green, 14 for Seagun, Dame Lillard with 11 points. So we've got Dame Lillard and Paul George pairing up in Washington. And then we got 21 points for Kawhi, 15 for LeBron, 14 for Giannis and Embiid, Kevin Durant with 11, and Dame Dollar with 11. And then the loss to the Celtics, Brogdon with 32 points, Tatum with 28, 19 points for Russell Westbrook, 17 for Steph Curry, 13 for LeBron, 12 for Nikola Jokic. And then the win against Minnesota, 17 for Harden, 17 for Embiid, 16 points for LeBron, 14 points for Kawhi, and 13 for Steph Curry. 30 points for Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns with 22 points, and D'Angelo Russell with 16 points and 11 assists, so double-double. Then the win against the Suns, 18 points for Embiid, Curry was 16, LeBron was 16, 20 points and 10 rebounds for Aiden, so double-double. 19 for Devin Booker, 18 for Mikal Bridges, and 8 points for Chris Paul. Then the win against Washington, 21 points for Giannis Antetokounmpo, James Harden with 18, Embiid with 16, 34 points coming from Paul George, and 26 points and 11 assists for Damian Lillard, so double-double. 17 for Jeremy Grant, and 9 points for Jae'Sean Tate. We move on to the win against Hornets. 27 points for LeBron James, 20 points for Embiid, 15 for Steph Curry, 24 points and 12 assists for LaMelo Ball, 19 for Hayward, 16 points for CP3. And then the loss to the Sixers, 35 points for SGA. So it's the Sixers, this is the super team and the Sixers. So SGA with 35, Zion Williamson with 23, Trae Young with 17, 12 points for Luka Doncic, and 10 points and 10 rebounds for Pascal Siakam, so double-double. 16 points coming from Giannis, Kevin Durant with 14, Harden with 13, 12 points each for Steph Curry, Nikola Jokic, and Russell Westbrook, and Anthony Davis with 11 points. End up winning by 1 point, or end up losing by 1 point, I mean. So we'll finish off December and start January. So we'll go from December 26th to January 22nd with a 28-6 record. So we'll simulate through. So we take a win against Detroit, a win against Toronto Raptors, and a win against the Celtics, and then a win against the Pacers to finish December. And then we take a win against Miami to start January. So we'll check those games. So the win against Detroit, 20 points for Diallo, 18 points for Cunningham, 20 points for Jokic, 19 for Kevin Durant, 18 each for Steph Curry and James Harden, and then 15 for Russell Westbrook, and then 13 points and 11 assists for LeBron James, so double-double. Then the win against the Raptors, 18 points for Pascal Siakam, 17 for Boucher, 18 for Curry, 15 for LeBron, 14 for Harden. Then the win against Boston, 32 for Jaylen Brown, 19 for Jason Tatum, Brogdon with 17, 17 for Kawhi, 16 for Giannis, 15 for Joel Embiid, Kevin Durant with 13, 12 points for Curry, Derrick Rose with 11. Then the win against the Pacers, 23 points for Buddy Hield, 21 for Tyrese Halliburton, 14 points for Miles Turner, 17 for Giannis, 17 for Derrick Rose, 16 points for LeBron James. And then the win against Miami, 18 points for Steph Curry, 13 each for LeBron James and Damian Lillard, 30 points coming from Ray Allen, 21 for Jimmy Butler, 20 for Tyler Hero. So we'll simulate till January 29th. So we'll go from January 5th to January 29th. So we'll simulate through. We take a win against Denver, a win against Minnesota, a win against the Hawks, a win against the Mavs, a win against Denver, then lose to the Rockets, then take a win against the 76ers, and then a win against the Jazz, a win against the Spurs, a win against the Mavs, a win against the Lakers, a win against the Spurs, a win against Atlanta, and a win against the Cavs. And we'll simulate till the end of January, and we take a win against Chicago to finish off January. So we're 47-7 at the end of January. So check the game against the Mavs. 17 points for LeBron, 14 for Harden, and 14 for Kawhi. 42 points, 12 rebounds, and 10 assists coming from Luka, so a triple-double. 16 for Christian Wood. Then the win against Denver, 20 points coming from Steph Curry, 18 for Giannis, and 16 points coming from James Harden. And then LeBron with 11, Nikola Jokic with 11 points and 10 assists, so double-double. 24 points and 13 rebounds coming from Jokic on the Nuggets, so double-double. 20 for Jamal Murray. Then the loss to the Rockets, 22 for Kevin Durant, 20 for Steph Curry, 15 points for Westbrook, and 12 points for LeBron. And this is the old school super team in the Rockets. 25 points for Jack. Bob Pettit with 21. Bob Cousy with 17 points and 13 assists, so double-double. Paul Horizon with 16 and George Mikan with 13. Then the win over the Sixers. 20 points for Kawhi, 18 points for D Rose, 17 points for Steph Curry, 34 for Tatum, 17 for Ja Morant, 15 for Zion, and 14 for SGA. Then the win against Utah, 18 points for Kelly Olynyk, Clarkson with 14, 22 points for Giannis, 19 for Kawhi, and 15 for Davis. Then the win against the Spurs, 30 points for Keldon Johnson, 22 points for Kevin Durant, and 18 for LeBron. Then the win against the Mavs, 52 points and 16 rebounds for Luka Doncic, so double-double. 27 points and 11 rebounds for Christian Wood, so double-double. 21 points for Kawhi, 18 for Harden, and 16 for Kevin Durant. Then the win against the Lakers, 37 points coming from LeBron James on the Lakers, 22 for Anthony Davis on the Lakers, 16 for Steph Curry, 15 for Kevin Durant, 13 points for Jokic, and 12 points for Kawhi. Then the win against the Spurs, 23 points and 10 assists coming from LeBron James, so a double-double. 15 for Kevin Durant, Harden with 13. Then the win against Atlanta, 24 for Jonte Murray, 21 for Trae Young, Bogdanovich with 14. 22 points for Jokic, 19 for LeBron, and 16 for Westbrook. Then the win against the Cavs, 24 points and 10 assists for Garland, so double-double. 20 points for Donovan Mitchell, and then 19 for LeBron and 16 for Steph Curry. Then the win against Chicago, 39 points coming from DeRozan, 25 for Zach LaVine, Lonzo Ball with 15 points and 12 assists, so that's a double-double. 26 points for LeBron James, 21 points for Steph Curry, 15 points for Giannis. So we move on into February. So we go from February 2nd to February 26th. So we'll simulate through. Oh, we'll re-simulate again. So we take a win over the Bucks to start off February. Take a win over the Knicks, then lose to Brooklyn. Take a win over the Mavs. Take a win over the Bucks. Take a win over Golden State. Take a win over the Suns, then All-Star happened. Then we take a win over Sacramento, a win over Denver, and a win over Minnesota to finish out February. So we'll check the win against the Bucks. 18 points for Middleton, 16 for Lopez, and 15 for Giannis. 24 for Curry, 17 for Embiid, and 14 for Kevin Durant. Then the win against the Knicks. 26 for RJ Barrett, 17 for Quickly, 19 points for James Harden, 16 points for Jokic, 14 each for Steph Curry and Kawhi. And then the loss against the Nets, 21 points for Paul Pierce, Kobe Bryant with 19, Shaquille O'Neal with 18, and D Wade with 16. 17 points for LeBron, 15 for Harden, Steph Curry with 13, and Jokic with 13. Then the win against the Mavs, 18 for LeBron, 18 for Kawhi, and 13 for Steph Curry. 30 points, 12 rebounds, and 12 assists coming from Luka Doncic, so a triple-double. 21 points from Tim Hardaway. Then the win against the Bucks, 23 for Kawhi, 15 for Kevin Durant, 15 for LeBron James, and 13 for James Harden. Giannis Antetokounmpo with 21. Grayson Allen with 16 and Jrue Holiday with 13. Then the win against Golden State, 21 for Harden, 21 for Kawhi, and 20 for LeBron. 22 for Steph Curry on the Warriors, 21 for Klay, 18 for Wiseman. And then the win against Phoenix Suns, 38 for Booker, 16 points and 12 rebounds for Ayton, so double-double. 20 points for Kevin Durant, Harden with 18 and Kawhi with 13. Then the All-Star game happened. Then the win over Sacramento after the All-Star, 16 points for Kevin Durant, 15 points for Giannis and Kawhi, 15 points for Keegan Murray, De'Aaron Fox with 14, and Kevin Herter with 14. Then the win over Denver, 23 for Aaron Gordon, 18 for Jamal Murray, 18 points, 12 rebounds, and 11 assists coming from Nikola Jokic, so a triple-double. 23 points coming from LeBron, 20 for Kawhi, and Steph Curry with 13. And then the win against Minnesota, 19 points for Kawhi, 18 for Kevin Durant, 15 for LeBron, 28 for Karl Anthony Towns, 20 points for D'Lo, and 16 points for Anthony Edwards. So move on into March. So we go from March 2nd to March 25th. So we've got a 56-8 record going into March. So we'll simulate through. We'll re-simulate again to March 25th. So we start March with a win over Golden State, take a win over Sacramento, then lose by 11 to Memphis, then take a win over Toronto, take a win over the Knicks, take a win over Golden State, a win over the Magic, a win over Portland, a win over OKC, back-to-back wins over OKC, and then a win against New Orleans. So we're 66-9 as of March 25th. So we'll check the win against Golden State. Jordan Poole with 22, Kuminga with 17, Curry with 15, Harden with 19, 17 for Derrick Rose, Kawhi Leonard with 13. Then the win against the Kings, 31 points for De'Aaron Fox, 20 points and 11 rebounds for Sabonis, so a double-double. 21 for LeBron, 20 for Kawhi, and 12 each for Steph Curry and Russell Westbrook. Then the 11-point loss to Memphis, 28 points coming from Steph Curry, 20 for LeBron, 16 for Kawhi, 55 points coming from Ja Morant, 28 points and 11 rebounds from Desmond Bane, so a double-double, 14 points and 11 assists for Dillon Brooks, so a double-double. Then the win against the Raptors, 21 for Russell Westbrook, 20 for Kawhi, and 13 for Steph Curry. 17 for Fred VanVleet, 17 for Pascal Siakam, and Scotty Barnes with 12. Then the win over the Knicks, 19 for Curry, 15 for Harden, and 15 for Kevin Durant. 17 for Derrick Rose, RJ Barrett with 16, and Quickly with 16. Then the win over Golden State, 21 for Derrick Rose, 20 for LeBron James, and 18 for Kevin Durant. 25 points and 10 assists for Steph Curry on the Warriors, so double-double, 18 for Wiggins. Then the win over the Magic, 20 for Jokic, 17 points for Kevin Durant and Kawhi Leonard. Cole Anthony with 23, Paolo Banchero with 17. Then the win over Portland, 45 points and 13 rebounds coming from Bob Pettit, so double-double. 21 points, 10 rebounds, and 13 assists from Bob Cousy, so a triple-double. 20 points for Kevin Durant, 17 points for Embiid, 16 apiece for LeBron, Giannis, and Russell Westbrook. And then the win over OKC, 27 for Giannis, 26 for Kawhi, 20 each for Kevin Durant and LeBron. 29 for SGA, 29 for Lou Dort, and 13 for Baisley. Back-to-back wins against OKC, 22 for LeBron, 13 for Curry, and 13 for Harden. 27 points coming from Chet Holmgren, 24 for Lou Dort and SGA with 12. Then the win against New Orleans, 18 points for Kevin Durant, 17 for Steph Curry, 18 points for Jackson Hayes, 16 points for CJ McCollum, Zion Williamson with 16. And then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games left. So we'll simulate the last 6. So we'll simulate through. We take a win against the Bulls. So we take a win against the Bulls, a win against Memphis, back-to-back wins against Memphis, take a win against New Orleans, a win against the Lakers, and a win against Portland. So we look at the game against Chicago. 20 for LeBron, 15 for Giannis, and 14 for Jokic. 35 for DeRozan. Vucevic with 20 points and 13 rebounds, so a double-double. The win against Memphis, 26 for Ja Morant, 24 for Dillon Brooks, 21 for Kawhi, 18 for LeBron. Then we got back-to-back wins against the Grizzlies. 22 for Ja Morant, Dylan Brooks with 18. 22 for Jokic, 19 for Giannis. Then the win against New Orleans. 20 points for Zion, 17 for CJ McCollum, and 15 for Jonas Valanciunas. 21 each for Curry and Derrick Rose, and Nikola Jokic with 16 points. And then the win against the Lakers, 22 for James Harden, 20 for Steph Curry, 30 points for LeBron, 30 for Anthony Davis. And then the win against Portland, 18 points for Steph Curry, Giannis with 16, and Russell Westbrook with 16. Bob Cousy with 25 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists, so a triple-double. So we're 72-9 going into the last game. And we end up with the W. So the super team with all from this current era matches the best Golden State record with a 73-9 record for the year. Luka Doncic gets MVP in the Mavs. Paolo Banchero gets Rookie of the Year. Luka Doncic gets Sixth Man of the Year for the Sixers. Paul George gets Defensive Player of the Year in the Wizards. Ja Morant gets Most Improved Player in the 76ers. And Steven Silas has the best record with 79 wins and 3 losses. So we advance through. All-NBA first team is Luka Doncic, Bob Cousy, Bob Pettit, LeBron James, and Nikola Jokic. All-NBA second team is Trae Young, Ja Morant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jason Tatum, and Anthony Davis. All-NBA third team is SGA, Devin Booker, Paul George, DeMar DeRozan, and Karl Anthony Towns. All-defensive first team is Luka Doncic, Lonzo Ball, Paul George, Evan Mobley, and Anthony Davis. All-defensive second team is Bob Cousy, Chris Paul, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Bob Pettit, and Mitchell Robinson. All-rookie first team, Paolo Banchero, Chet Holmgren, Keegan Murray, Jabari Smith Jr., and Jaden Ivey. So we'll advance on. So we'll simulate the play-ins. So it's going to be Houston against the Lakers, Dallas against Memphis, Portland, Golden State, and the LA Clippers super team against Minnesota. So LA Clippers super team ended up getting the second seed in the West. And it's going to be Brooklyn against Washington, Miami, Atlanta, Chicago, Cleveland, and Philly, Boston in the East. So we'll start the simulation of round 1 between the Clippers and Minnesota. So we'll simulate game 1. And the Clippers take game 1, 143-115. Harden with 20 points, 17 for Dame Lillard, and 16 for Kawhi. 25 points for Anthony Edwards, 23 points and 14 assists for D'Angelo Russell, so a double-double. So I'll move on to game 2, and we'll simulate game 2. And the Clippers are up 2-0, 144-110. 17 for Dame Lillard, 16 for Giannis, 16 for Kawhi, and 16 for Embiid. 35 points and 13 assists for D'Angelo Russell, so a double-double. 15 points each for Anthony Edwards and Kyle Anderson. Move on to game 3. We'll simulate game 3. And Clippers are up 3-0. 29 points for Anthony Edwards, D'Angelo Russell with 14, and Anthony Towns with 14. Clippers get the big 143-97 win. 26 for LeBron, 17 for Steph Curry, 15 for Kawhi, and 15 for Derrick Rose. Move on to game 4 of the first round. Can the Clippers get past it? Can Minnesota stay alive? We'll simulate game 4. And the Clippers sweep Minnesota 4-0, 132-110. So the super team in the Clippers is too powerful for the Minnesota Timberwolves. 39 points for Anthony Edwards, Jalen Noel with 15, 28 points for Kawhi Leonard, 18 for Giannis, 11 points each for Harden, LeBron, Jokic, and Damian Lillard. So we're into the second round, so we'll simulate the round. So it's going to be Houston against Dallas, Clippers, Portland, Brooklyn, Miami, Philly, Cleveland. So we'll take LA super team, the Clippers super team against Portland. So we'll simulate game 1. And Clippers take game 1, 136-117. 17 points for LeBron, 16 each for Kevin Durant and Jokic. 25 points for Simons, 21 points for Bob Cousy, and 20 points and 12 rebounds for Bob Pettit. So double-double. So this is going to be an interesting season. This is between Bob Cousy and Bob Pettit against Clippers Super Team in the new era. So we move on to Game 2. So we'll simulate Game 2. And Clippers are running away 2-0. 126 to 117. 20 points for Kevin Durant. 20 points for LeBron. 13 points for Embiid. 30 points and 13 rebounds coming from Bob Pettit. 24 points for Bob Cousy, and Simon Says is 24 points. Move on to Game 3, and we'll simulate Game 3. And Clippers are up 3-0. They take the big 158 to 122 win. 28 points for Bob Pettit, 25 points for Josh Hart, 21 points for Simons. Bob Cousy with 11 points and 11 assists, so double-double. 22 points for Steph Curry, 19 points for LeBron, and 17 points for Jokic. So move on to Game 4, simulate Game 4, and Clippers are through to the Western Conference Finals. So the Clippers super team of this generation in the league. The super team is into the Western Conference Finals. So Simons with 21, 19 for Nurkic, 17 for Josh Hart, 10 points and 11 assists for Bob Cousy, and Pettit with only 9 points. 17 for Curry, Kevin Durant was 16, and Westbrook was 16. So we move on. So it's going to be a Houston Clippers Western Conference Finals and Brooklyn Philly in the East. So we'll simulate Game 1. And Clippers take Game 1, 121 to 106. So the Rockets super team of Bill Sharman, Bob Cousy, and George Mikan. So 23 for Bill Sharman, 15 for Bob Cousy, and Mikan with 13 points and 10 rebounds, so double-double. Kawhi with 19, Harden with 18, and Jokic with 13. Move on to Game 2. We'll simulate Game 2. And the Clippers are up 2-0. 114 to 102 win. Bob Cousy with 19, Bob Pettit with 15, Paul Horizon with 11, 22 for LeBron, Harden with 12, Giannis with 12. So move on to Game 3. We'll simulate Game 3. And Houston get one. 141 to 112. Kawhi with 18, Jokic with 17, and 15 for Steph Curry. 25 points for Paul Horizon, Bob Pettit with 19, Jack Twyman with 18, Dolph Schayes with 18. Move on to Game 4. So we'll simulate Game 4. And LA Clippers come back with the 3-1 lead with the 128 to 122 win. James Harden with 22, Derrick Rose with 18, 17 for LeBron, 22 for Jack, 20 for Bill Sharman, 18 for Paul Horizon, 12 points and 11 rebounds for Bob Pettit, so double-double. Move on to Game 5, and we'll simulate Game 5. And Houston come back in Game 5 to take the 152 to 113 win. Bob Pettit with 25 points. Bob Cousy with 22 points and 10 assists, so double-double. 16 for Bill Sharman, 16 for Paul Horizon, 22 for Kevin Durant, 14 for LeBron, and 13 for Harden. So move on to Game 6, and we'll simulate Game 6. Oh, and Houston have come back. 151 to 112. 16 for Kevin Durant, D Rose with 15, and 14 for LeBron and Giannis. 27 for Bill Sharman, 21 for Cousy. Move on to Game 7, simulate Game 7. And the Clippers can't make the finals even with their super team. They end up losing 4-3. Western Conference Finals MVP goes to Bob Cousy. So they end up losing 118 to 116. So the old school super team gets through to the NBA Finals. Bob Pettit with 15, Dolph Schayes with 14, Paul Horizon with 14, Kevin Durant with 17, LeBron with 14, and 13 for Embiid. So it's going to be Nets Rockets. So we'll simulate the first game in the series. And Rockets take Game 1, 115 to 110. Dolph Schayes with 16, Paul Horizon with 15, Bob Cousy with 13 points and 11 assists, so double-double. Allen Iverson with 16, Paul Pierce with 16, Garnett with 15, and Shaq with 14. So I'll move on. So it's two super teams going at it in the finals. So we'll simulate game 2. And the Rockets, the old school team's too much to handle. 140 to 128 win. 23 for Dolph Shays, 19 for Bill Sharman, George Mikan for 17, Shaq O'Neal for 20, Allen Iverson with 16, Dirk Nowitzki with 15, Kobe Bryant with 13 points and 11 assists, so double-double. Move on to Game 3 of the finals, so we'll simulate Game 3. And the Nets come back and get one back. So they win 140 to 122, so they take 2-1 in the series now. Dwayne Wade with 26 points, Kevin Garnett with 17, Paul Pierce with 16, Tim Duncan with 16, and Kobe Bryant with 13. 17 points and 11 assists for Bob Cousy, so double-double. 16 for Bill Sharman. Move on to Game 4 of the finals, simulate Game 4, and the Nets have come back to lock it up 2-all. They get the 112-111 win. 22 for Dirk, 17 for Paul Pierce, 16 for Kobe, and 14 for Shaq. Move on to Game 5 of the NBA Finals, and the Rockets take Game 5 to go up 3-2, 118 to 100. George Mikan with 24, Paul Ariza with 19, Bob Cousy with 14, Kobe Bryant with 17, Shaq with 16, Paul Pierce with 14. Move on to Game 6, and we'll simulate Game 6. And the Rockets end up winning the NBA Finals in 6. So the old school super team in Houston Rockets with Bob Cousy, Bill Sharman, Paul Ariza, and George Mikan ended up getting the job done 4-2 in the finals, taking a 125-111 win. Paul Ariza with 20, 19 points and 12 assists for Bob Cousy. 23 for Kobe Bryant, Shaq with 17, Kevin Garnett and D Wade with 16 each. So the super team of this era with the Clippers that had Kevin Durant, LeBron, Embiid, Curry, Jokic, Kawhi, Derrick Rose, Giannis, Damian Lillard, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis ended up having a win status of 73 wins and 9 losses. They end up sweeping all the way to the second round, get to the Western Finals, and end up losing 4-3 to the old school super team. And then the Rockets with the old school super team end up winning the finals 4-2. So for all you viewers that are liking this video, don't forget to smash a like button. And for all you new subscribers out there, for all you new viewers out there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, as I'm on that road to 1,200 subs. And I appreciate every single one of you that's hit that subscribe button. Anyway, that's another video in the books, and that's NZ Blasian out. And we'll catch you in the next episode. NZ Blasian out.